Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I'm excited today. We have Audrey Boyle with us today. Welcome, Audrey.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've heard so many amazing things about you. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you got going on right now.
Who I am.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things going on with me right now. Like, what do you want to hear? I'm an educator to the core. But really kind of my story started, I say, in front of the Philadelphia airport. Like I was sitting on a bench, I was talking to my husband, and I was bawling my guts out. And I realized that I had a job that I did not like. I did not like my job. But from the outside looking in, I had this amazing job, and why was I even complaining at all? Right. I was one of the youngest VPs for the Home Depot, and I was only 29 years old.
Wow.
So I had a big job, big responsibility, and I was moving up the corporate ladder. And then I realized like I wasn't really happy. And I had this like whole epiphany of like, I wandered around in my career just because, hey, this company's hiring when I happen to be looking for a job. So, oh, I'll go work for you. Or, oh, you're going to pay me more money. Okay, I'll go work for you. And that is no way to really attack your career.
Right.
So I went back to school, got my MBA, and I became a teacher, really because I don't want anyone to experience what I did, where you turn around at age midlife and you go, wait, now I know what I want to do in my life.
That's my story.
The earlier, the better, right? The earlier the better with all of it. And you think, oh, if I just realized like, all of that. I want to help students through that process because it's really tough for students right now. And so I've been teaching for Forbes Business School for a number of years. I teach the college class personal branding and social media marketing. How I got that experience is I started my own social media following 7 years ago, and it's really kind of taken off. I would post jokes. I would run around. I was the meme mom, I would run around with memes and be like, do you think this is funny? And this is great. I need, I had a whole different perspective on comedy. And once I started teaching the class personal branding, I knew I needed to bring it all together. And once I did that, it was a random occurrence. I had a student say, hey, let's play your trailer. I saw your trailer on YouTube. And I was like, oh no, they're going to find out my alter ego. But then I realized once they were laughing at the trailer, thank goodness, that they thought that had their attention.
Right.
And learning should be fun. It should be fun. And I think that we get away from that. Yeah. And so I really incorporate that into everything I do, which now is really content creation and really launching my TV show.
Yeah. So. Fun. I love that. So I'm just going to go right to the elephant in the room, right? With where we're at right now in our world and what's going on. So what, you're teaching business, right? You're teaching branding, you're doing this now. So how has the virus and what's going on in the last couple of weeks, or depending on where you are, I guess that timeline, but like, how are you reinventing? How are you adjusting? How are, give us a synopsis of the last 2 weeks of how you've moved through where we're at so far.
I feel like if you've read the old book, it's not old, but I guess it's not recent, Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah, right.
There is a scene in the book where the mice runs into the room and there's no cheese and they've been living off this cheese for so long and just like fat cats, And that is kind of what happened, right? That's what happened in our world, is that we were chugging along and everybody knew to their core, we needed to make changes, foundational changes And now it is happening very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So the expression, the pendulum swings, you know, or the
swung.
pin drops,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
not floating down
No.
comfortably, you know, that's how I thought it was going to go. But the future of work, so you've heard that phrase, the future of education.
Here it is.
It's all here. It all
Yep.
happened all at once. And so many people are reassessing their lives and how they want to do business. And if you've been resistant to being online or virtual reality, which is different than what we thought it was, right?
Yeah.
If you've been resistant to that, you've had to take a whole nother 360 look at it.
Yeah.
And so companies have been exposed, and we are now hitting a recession, which is very scary because usually it's a slow progression. And then we go, oh, wait, we're the boiled frog. But that's not what's happening here. So.
Yeah. So when you talk, like when I talk about branding, right? Like just reinventing and businesses kind of pivoting and moving forward, what's the biggest challenge that you're seeing right now in business as they move forward?
It's the showing up virtually.
Mm-hmm.
I think people discount what that means. So I've had calls with executives for companies, and they're in their bedroom, and the
Right.
camera is like showing like the ceiling because they don't want to show that they have a bed or whatever's going on. And I always
they're
say,
human,
like,
you mean?
they're human, right? But I always say, like, this white space that's here when you're in a virtual call is prime real estate. It's a billboard, right? And what does this say about you?
Yeah.
And how do you converse virtually with people? Because you have to be effective in a team virtually now.
Yeah.
And so the biggest shift is from face to face to now that we're in this other world where we don't have the nuances that we got from face-to-face interactions.
Right. So what would be the top 3 things, or I guess the number doesn't matter, but like what would be the top things that you would say to somebody that's really trying to take their team? Like we've been eyeball to eyeball for the last how many years, and now all of a sudden, you know, they're all like everybody's remote, including the leader of that team. So like what are the top 3 things that leader gets to do in order to really transition that team through?
I say first is go internal. So what does your office space look like? Does everything in your space make sense? So first go to the foundation of like, okay, there's some Christmas decorations in my office, whatever is going on, like clear all of that out and start with a good palette, I guess, right? A good foundation.
Yeah.
Everything that you did in your teams, you can still do virtually.
Right.
You can still have icebreakers. You can still have fun things that you do. So don't take those away. If you had a conversation with Regina at the water cooler, schedule a virtual call with Regina at the water cooler and chit chat.
Yeah. Right.
So don't change any of the interactions. Just make sure that they're all virtual now.
Maybe
so
just
I think
add a dance party. Right?
Yeah, like,
Maybe
you know,
they
think that they can take it away. It's like, oh no, I don't get to do that anymore. You still get to do those things. And so I've been saying, first start with what does your space look like? Then kind of think about like grieving. We're all kind of grieving the life that we had before. And so what does grief look like? It looks like different things for everybody. So, okay, we're grieving like, okay, how am I going to change? How am I going to be realistic? How am I going to reinvent myself, like you said?
Yeah.
I'm a virtual person anyways. I'm actually an introvert, so it's kind of nice not to have to like talk to people, you know, like actually hug people and shake their hands. Like I think
the extroverts are the ones that we're worried about right now.
I know, right now. I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be rough for you. I've had conversations with friends. I'm like, okay, we can do this. So we can do dance parties if you want.
Right.
So think about like the grieving process of the life you had before, and go easy on yourselves. I know a lot of people have gone structure hardcore. We're waking up at 8. The kids are done with this. We're doing this. We're doing this. Absolutely, definitely do that. But this is an opportunity to change. And so recognizing that what was there is no longer there, and now we need to change. And there's going to be a transition period that we're all going to go through. So
Right. I love that you mentioned opportunity. I think that there's so much opportunity out there right now that some are seeing and some maybe aren't seeing, right? So like
Yes.
when we talk about opportunity in this new world, like what comes to you when we say that? What does that look like?
What it looks like is finding out how you can do your business virtually. So whatever business that you have, how can you do it virtually? So in its place would have, maybe you had a conference or maybe you had something along those lines. You can still do all of those things. There's still opportunities available with all of those things. It's just, it's going to be different. So lean into it because the change is here and it's happening. And all the things that you complained about, you know, like, oh, we should do this and we should do that. This is
now
the
you
time
get
to do it.
Yeah, now we get to.
Like, oh, we should, you know, but this is, everything's blown up, you know?
Right.
So it's like, how would you do it now that you can start over? How would you start over?
Right. And it's also like this big pause for us a little bit too, right? Like we were so I was like on this rat wheel race, right? Like just constantly go, 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 go. And it's been a big pause for us. So during this pause, as we're kind of reinventing our work and reinventing what that looks like and how we move forward, like what's your message for people right now?
Find what brings them joy. Do as often as possible things that bring you joy. That is, the next time you think this is so fun, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Pay attention. What is the action? Like really pay attention to you, what you want. Yeah. And what you give yourself permission to explore that.
Yeah. Cause we don't like I think back to the good old days 2 weeks ago, right?
I know. Woo, it seems like it was 2 years ago.
I know, right? But you think back to that time and like, when we're busy, we don't just take the time out to pause and just go internal and think about like what you said, what do we want? And so like when when we talk about a pause, it's just so incredibly important to do that right now. As you kind of work through your business and what you've got going on, what other opportunities are coming forward, right? Like what other opportunities other than just kind of reinventing ourselves and pausing do you see out there?
I think it's not, opportunity is that people want to know who you are and what your services are. And I think that, pausing and figuring out what brings you joy and putting out there so much of what brings you joy. So with that thought, the opportunity I feel like is there. It's just, it's very different. You have to realize that now there's manual things that people do that they don't need to do anymore. Yeah. And so how can you take what brings you joy and put that out there? So when I say what brings you joy, like maybe singing brings you joy, absolutely. Or maybe it's just analyzing or looking at a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Like if that is really, if you get in whatever rabbit hole, figure out why you jump down that rabbit hole with whatever it happens to be. And so what is the action? And so I feel like the opportunity is in the action. Right. So what brings me joy is doing calls, right? So if I love talking to people in virtual calls, or I love helping people, or I like assisting students, or what is the action that I'm taking, figuring out what that is and really talking about that online and digital spaces. Yeah, because people need you right now, right? Like they need all of us, like whatever, we all have different superpowers. We all bring our own natural gifts to the table and stuff like that. And this is so the perfect, especially when you talk about branding, like that's your superpower, right? When you talk about branding, like it's a clean slate. We have the opportunity right now to brand ourselves however we want and to move forward into this new normal kind of in whatever way that looks like, right? So a good exercises that I've been doing is taking a look at all of your profiles. So your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, all of your profiles, your LinkedIn especially. And does it tell the story of who you are or what services you have to provide or what your superpower is? Does it speak to your superpower? Because we forget to tell our friends and family what our superpower is and they don't realize And most of the many opportunities come from them telling our story. So get a hold of your brand. The first place to start if you're going to rebrand is to survey people, friends and family, colleagues. And we all have time right now, right, to do a survey. So ask them like, hey, what is my superpower? If I were going to train you on something, what would I train you on?
Beautiful.
Why would I call you? What do you think I do all day? You know, like really try to explore like what is out there already, and then you can craft the narrative.
Yeah, it's always really interesting to ask for feedback and then take that feedback, because if you can take that feedback and turn it around and make it work for you, you're just closing that gap between your perception and other people's perception, right?
Yes, yes. And it's so much easier to see what's already out there and then tweak that rather than just heavy lifting of starting something from scratch.
Right, definitely. I love how you talk about branding and joy, because there's so many times that you see brands out there that like resonate versus those ones that don't resonate. And joy is really kind of that, it's like that secret sauce, isn't it? Can you talk
They're
a
playing
little bit
offense. Yeah, they're playing offense with their lives.
Yeah.
They're playing offense with their company. So I look at digital media like you're running plays. I'm really into sports. So you're running plays, right? So that you have to get down the field if the field is the end of your life. And how do you run plays to move down the field?
Yeah.
So a play could be you going through all of your profiles and tweaking it to make sure that it's one consistent message.
Yeah.
Or going to a conference or having a webinar or whatever. What are the plays that you're running to move down the field?
Yeah.
And if you get very consistent messaging and then you start running plays, it's really that simple. And if you get consistent with it. So that is what it's the bringing you joy and letting everybody know what brings you joy, and then playing offense with your life.
What do you think holds people back from that? It's like, what holds people back from claiming what brings them joy, from claiming, here's my superpower, from claiming, like, you know, from not stepping into power? What is it that holds people back from that?
So I've created a think tank called Hall Pass Education, and that is part of what we talk about when it comes to this think tank. It's the way that we are taught is not how we learn. So generally, if you're given a hall pass, it's somebody has given you permission to be in the hallway. And that is how we go through our lives. Like the beginning part of our lives is somebody says, hey, do this, do this, do this, and you'll be successful. They give you a letter grade even. And so we get in this pattern of just regurgitating information and not necessarily trying to flush out what our own critical thinking skills are, what our own thoughts are. Right. So as we become fully functional adults, hopefully, we may have a weird relationship with money. So understanding what your relationship with money is. We may always be looking for a program, or we're looking for someone to give us permission to do whatever it happens to be, because it's scary. It's scary to not know what your path is. And so we're looking for a help. And somebody maybe come along the way, or we think, oh, that person knows the way, so let me follow them and let me do everything they're doing. But this isn't quite what brings me joy. So we wander around and we explore opportunities. But that's what it really is that as human beings, we don't think that who am I to be successful? Right? So fear of success is a thing, and that mindset is what really holds us all back, because it's all about self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. We could have a whole nother podcast episode on self-sabotage. It's crazy.
So I would say to people that are out there, I mean, with everything that's going on, don't self-sabotage yourself anymore. That is not, right now we're on a level playing field. And if you lean in and you get serious about how you show up virtually, you'll run plays down the field and you'll be successful.
Oh, so true, and so incredibly powerful. Thank you for that. Because again, it's a level playing field. And so we all get to step into our power. And if that's like, if you get that concept and there's still something holding you back from that, know that there's tons of resources. So I want to talk about some of the resources. So if I'm out there and I'm listening to this and I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I'm still really scared to make that next move, to make that next step. Like, where are the resources to really get that mindset and get the play, right? The playbook for how they move forward in that.
I say resources wise, keeping it simple. Keeping it very simple. So when I say plays, it's a small thing. It's all the little things that nobody cares about. Do that every single day. So it's like your garden. People walk into your garden, they're like, oh, this is so beautiful and wonderful. But they don't care that you spent hours planting seeds and pulling weeds and all of that. So I would say, like, every day or every week, give yourself like 2 or 3 things that you can just cross off the list. The big things, like, I'm going to tweak my website. I'm going to update my profiles. I'm going to redo my resume and tweak it and add my current experience. I am going to have a call with somebody for networking or mentoring. So you're always running. My suggestion for resources, because I feel like there's lots of resources out there.
Kind of them,
right? But I want people to know they have the power within them to be successful. And they don't necessarily need to find a path or a handbook to their lives. And so if you want this goal, whatever your goal happens to be, then work backwards. And just keep crossing things off the list, and you'd be surprised that at the end of the day, all of those things matter, and it was all things that you did just, that was nobody cared about.
Right, exactly. It's so true. It's so true. And I mean, for me, I needed to have an accountability partner and or a coach in order to be able to do that, because it was too easy for me to get lost in the noise and the distraction. And then even though I said I wanted to do it, right, it doesn't always happen. So have an accountability partner, a friend that will call you every day and say, hey, did you get that desk organized today, like you said? Or, hey, did you make that networking call, or whatever it is, I think is really, really important as well.
Because procrastination is a thing, right? So
that's self-sabotage.
It is self-sabotage to procrastinate. And so, like, okay, I have something on Friday. I better get my office together for that. Okay, great. It's good to have a goal, or maybe set that goal like, hey, I'm going to have this call on Friday, so I have to have it done by then. Whatever you need to do to work backwards. But accountability partners are great too. So however you need to just get those little things done. And the accountability partner too, I had a coach, and my growth was like out of control once I had a coach. I mean, I hands down, business coach, legit. They're completely legit.
I will never go without one again.
I don't even know. Once I actually got a great coach, I was like, how did I go through life without?
Right. Exactly.
But they'll celebrate those small wins with you. They'll go, oh my God, yeah, your website looks really great. This is great. It's really good that you stayed up till 3:00 in the morning working on this PowerPoint presentation. So they're going to celebrate all these things with you. And so that's amazing too, because I think that you don't have anyone to celebrate. It makes it even harder.
Totally. Yep. Absolutely. You feel very lonely. And I mean, a lot of it too, is past programming. I know that my past programming, was like, I got this. And if I didn't have it, God forbid I'd raise my hand, because if I raised my hand and asked for support or went somewhere else, it meant that I was weak. It meant that I didn't know what I was doing right. These are like all the stories that I would tell myself in my head. And so it's such a spiral and so easy to get into that.
Yes. And if you did this amazing thing, then they're going to expect more from you. And I don't want them to expect more from me. Like, I have this going on in my life and this going on in my life. And how do I put it all together? And I'm going to fail. So I might as well not even try. I mean, it does go on in your head. And I think first recognizing what your fear is, so pausing and saying, okay, I am legit afraid to be successful. Like, it's scary. Like, what if people recognize me? Or what if, I'm an expert in the field of this? So first recognizing it is so important.
Yep. Very huge. So the name as we kind of wrap up here, the name of this podcast is Your Leadership Legacy. So we talk about like, you to me, I just met you. And I think that you're an amazing leader, and I can't wait to get to know you even more after this. But like, what legacy are you aspiring to leave? Like, when you're gone, like, what are you aspiring for that legacy to look like?
I want to have impact. I want to make people laugh. My why is to make people laugh and to help people play offense with their lives. So if I were to talk back to my my future self, and I always think everybody should do this exercise, right? Yes. So you look back over your life, your future self, and your future self says, I did it. What is that?
Yeah, what is it?
And I can tell so much when people respond to this question. So I always tell people, like, okay, if it's a big house and a big car and you're laying on a beach somewhere, you had to have impacted who, and that, what is it that you did? That's all a byproduct of your success, that you're living comfortably. So what is it you actually did?
Yeah.
Figure that out.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So then what is it with you?
Oh my gosh.
What is your legacy?
Yeah, my legacy is, I always wanted to help people, and I want to help people laugh. I want people to enjoy their lives. And so all of my content is really surrounding the coping of that. And I found that that is one of the reasons why I was successful in corporate America, and especially in teaching, is that if you can put the comedic lens or optimistic humor on any subject, then you're collaborative, you're flexible, your defenses are down. There's so much that is there when it comes to laughter and humor. And so it is, my why is to make people laugh.
That's awesome. That's great. It's why do we go through life anyway other than that, right? Life does not have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be hard. We get to laugh and do this together, right? Like it's
it should be simple too. You know,
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to create some widget or something like that. That is a byproduct of the impacts.
Yes, definitely. All right. Well, where can people find you, Audrey? I think I have a feeling that people need your services right now.
Audrey Boyle, not Audrey Boyle is my handle. I always say, because a lot of older white women took Audrey Boyle, so I'm not Audrey Boyle.
Okay.
So you can Google me. I'm out there. I'm doing things. I'm doing it. I'm out there. So
Great.
Reach out. I always will help people. And my services are really just making people laugh. So just looking at my content and finding it enjoyable.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. You came very highly recommended, and I feel very blessed to know you now, and can't wait to talk to you next time. So thank you so much for being on. All right, you guys, we're going to end it. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Audrey, for being on, and we will see you next time on Your Leadership Legacy. Bye. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.